who has given us some information about the significance of the African-American spirituals and hymns and the impact that these spirituals and hymns have had on even the Queen of England herself. And Taylor, I think that before we had our commercial break,
Yes.
we were talking about the impact that these hymns have
Yes.
had
Yes.
on the Queen of England.
Yes.
So continue that discussion.
Okay.
I would imagine that our audience should be quite interested in some of these
Yes,
this information.
it was. I'll start with the book. In his book, there's something here that I have to cut this off. Ain't this a mess? I'm sorry about that, Dr. Brown. Okay, I didn't turn this off, but in his book, he speaks about when he was in England. He sang at the Royal Festival Hall. And it was there that several people came from America, Dr. A.M. Townsend, Mrs. Susie Campbell, the lady who discovered him, and they all went to hear him perform in England at the Royal Festival Hall. And it is this memory of these things that helped me to know that they had a memory of him that we don't have. You know, we have seen him here in America, and they tell me here in Nashville that he was always on the go, so a lot of people didn't get a chance to know him here. But today his CD is available and his book is available also. And what my memory is, when I was here in 1978, I went to American Baptist for a while, and then we went on back to Alabama. But this is when I had a chance to dine with Dr. Bradley at his tower home, and he told me how kind she was to him. And so I was moved to send her a CD. I don't know if she knew it was out, but the letter was dated that I received, was dated the day after. He died, passed away May the 3rd. This letter was dated May the 2nd of 2013, but this was in 2007 when he passed away. And so what I was led to do, and as I was saying earlier, we sent the CD, and when she went in the hospital, but when she come out, the Prime Minister passed away. And so we sent the CD, and in the CD, I knew Dr. Bradley's singing. He's known to singing at funerals. He sang at my pastor's funeral in Alabama. He sang I'll Fly Away. And here in Nashville on February, Valentine's Day, I had the opportunity to present him, Dr. Bradley, at the Bethlehem Center. And that was very meaningful because that was the day that he, that was the day that he, this is really a shame. That was the day that he, something happened here, Dr. I don't know, but that was the day that he performed, sang at my pastor's funeral, and he sang I'll Fly Away. And then when we had the opportunity to get this over, to get that out, it was something there, you know, that I began to see things about how moving his music was to other people and things of this nature. And in reference to the Queen, we also suggested that as she sponsored in Atlanta, I worked with the Atlanta Bulletin newspaper, and it was there that I learned that she also sponsored the World Choir. I had a chance to interview the guy who founded the World Choir, and he told me that started at a rugby game in England. And he noticed as they were singing the national anthem that the people were forgetting how to sing. And then he took his perceptions to the Queen of England, and she sponsored the World Choir. So with all of these things in mind, what happened was I felt it would be good to add the idea of Dr. Bradley's music as music for the world, music therapy for the world, because of the conditions and things of the world today, the mood of the people. They need some music that would help to comfort them, and which would reach deep down inside of them. And our young people, there's a young lady I know here from North Carolina. She had a chance to listen to Dr. Bradley's music, and she's in her 30s, and she said, this is the kind of music that we need that will reach deep down inside of us. And
so music as therapy, you believe that Dr. Bradley's music can really serve that purpose, that it really has an impact upon people who hear that music, just as it had an impact on it during when he was performing in person,
yes,
et cetera, that even now his CDs are that significant.
That's right.
And what we ought to do is to try to buy into that and to try to understand the impact that this music can have upon the psyche.
That's right.
In a real sense on the individual.
That's right.
Is that what we're saying?
Exactly. And also, he was a favorite singer of Dr. MLK Jr. He performed at the Tribeca University, and I had an opportunity to play his music at the Tribeca about 4 or 5 months ago, and it was like hearing him in the past and present. And Dr. Bradley singing, he was doing the same thing in university settings that Dr. MLK Jr. was doing with his speeches and things of that nature. I don't know why this thing won't go off. He was doing the same thing with his music that Dr. MLK Jr. was doing with his speeches. And when you see that, the impact that he was having, how his singing was being used to diffuse racial tension, and that is needed today more than ever so. You know.
That it is the kind of music that can, in a real sense, serve as a public service in,
That's right.
in a real sense.
That's
and
right.
What we have to do is to resurrect this music and to bring it back and make more people aware of it.
Yes.
And you've done quite a bit, Brother Taylor, because I've been working with you and dealing with you in reference to this.
Yes.
And for a long time, it seems that it was a sort of a thankless kind of task that you were involved in, but now you're finding that it's having some impact all over. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, and we have been able to get two singing groups to donate Dr. Bradley CDs to the senior citizen homes, and this is one of the things that we are really hoping that the churches will join in to do, and this way that everybody will be being fed. The contemporary people in churches today, they will be getting the music that they need, and those who are in the senior citizen homes, those who are not mobile, those who don't have radios or computers to have access to his music online, if those singing groups and things would just donate Dr. Bradley CDs to the senior citizen home, and I'm even making them available for them to call me, and I will hook them up to my telephone and let them listen as much as they would like.
So these spirituals and hymns serves as a real effort on the part of yourself as well as others to not only resurrect this music, but to make people understand how significant this music is to their everyday lives, and that it can really change some lives. Why would you think that the spirituals and hymns would have that kind of impact upon people, Brother Taylor?
Excellent question, Dr. Haney. There's the suffering that's echoed in the music, the suffering, the sorrow, and the sadness. And in Dr. Bradley's book, they said that this is what caused him to become loved by the people in the world, because they could feel his music. And it was Dr. Don Saylor at Emory University was saying that the great suffering produces the most beautiful music. And this is something that Dr. Bradley had experienced tremendously. You know, growing up dirt poor, a lot of times in his book, he talked about the number of days he went without food and things of that nature, you know. So his music grew out of that. And he said in his book that he never really had anything, but he could always sing. And so it's the healing in it, the suffering, and it is something about it. I just believe that the time is right for it, to us embrace it and to help those senior citizens who are in their nursing home. And to make this quick story here, if we have time, the 90-year-olds that I'm talking about, that I've been working with, there was a 90-year-old minister in Selma by the name of Dr. C.A. Lett. I got in touch with Dr. Lett, and I said, Dr. Lett, I said, at 98, I said, what is it that's your favorite hymns? And Dr. Lett said, I have 3. And I said, I got my pen and paper. And he said, the first one is, Guide me, O thou great Jehovah. And the second one was, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. And the last one was Amazing Grace. And I found a 95-year-old in Albany, Georgia. And I asked him about his favorite ones, but first I told him about Dr. Let 3. And Dr. Haney, this 95-year-old, he said, it seems like he left one out. And I said, Reverend Reynolds, I said, what could that be? And he said, on Jordan's stormy bank I stand and catch the witchful eye. And so what I'm saying, this language, these songs have become a language by which they talk to the Lord and they remember their past. And one of the elderly ladies with the Clark Memorial Church told me, she said, the music tells a story to me, you know, and it takes me back in the past. All of that is just absolutely wonderful.
Very good. And of course, Brother Taylor, let me thank you for giving us that excellent information.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to know that we really appreciate that. And I'm sure that our audience will gain a lot by simply turning on to these hymns. And we'll
Yes,
be back. We'll be back with our audience next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.